Fun show today. Really fun show. A legend of Commanders fame, of television fame, of NFL lore fame. We have a former MVP, a Super Bowl champion. We've got the incredible Joe Theismann on the program. I have a secret to tell you in regards to Joe Theismann, myself and my NFL fandom. Stay tuned for that. We're going to lacrosse over sports to lacrosse, and we have Trevor Baptiste joining the show. Which NFL player would be the best lacrosse over athlete? Okay, we will get Trevor's thoughts on that. There's a PLL, those Rabel brothers doing their thing. They're going to be on some boat in Chicago. There's a lot going out. Also, I love you so much that I'm going to give you my top 5 fantasy sleeper values. You're welcome. Audible groans in the control room at my lacrosse over. It just happens. I think my ponytail's too tight. Hamilton, a few things. The ponytail's back. I don't know why she ever left me, but she's back. I'm feeling sassy. We got a big show. Very fun to talk to Trevor Baptiste, New York Atlas, high draft pick, never has played in a championship. He's played in playoff action. They're in a tie for the playoffs. I'm excited to talk to him just about really, obviously, the growth, the vibe, a little crossover, a little like those face-offs look gnarly.
Oh yeah, those look nasty. Honestly, I liked the lacrosse over, which probably means, it wasn't the right thing to say, but I appreciated it.
A little cringy. And then, of course, Joe Theismann, a legend, of course, his career, his world of broadcasting. And I'm just going to say it. I've never watched the leg break. I know that sounds improbable, and truly, I think it's impressive. I deserve some sort of honor for being maybe the one NFL fan who has been so elusive. I've broken every tackle. Every time it comes close to coming on, I shield my eyes. I don't want to see that. And it's been talked about, and it is so gruesome. It's not very funny at all. And I'm excited to have Joe on. We won't relive it with him or anything. I probably won't even tell. Do you think he'd be like annoyed that I haven't seen it, or?
I don't know. I think he'll probably think that you're lucky for not having seen it. I mean, enough time has passed. He talks about it.
Yeah.
That was one of the first people I worked with in TV was Joe Theismann. He would talk about it. He doesn't shy away from it.
I've never seen it. I don't want to see it. It's like, everyone in my life when I was little told me about the Georgie scene in it, like that first, you can float too thing. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I will
never
shield my eyes. If a clip comes across I have to put my phone away because this phone listens to every effing thing that I say, and it's going to show me that later on some algorithm.
I'm surprised Adam didn't tape your eyes open and
no, but he warned me about
point.
it, and he would say it, and he'd chase me around the house, so I would never watch it, and I've never seen it. And so the Joe Theismann, if that makes sense, the gruesome injury that ended his career, I never saw it because everyone warned me about how bad it was. I also, for being super clear, we've got a lot to get to, and we'll get to it. We talked about this on the call this morning. Had I seen it in real life, had I been, smart, old enough or understood what I was watching it, I probably wouldn't have really. I don't know how many replays it would take for me to see what's going on. I can't. My weakness is I'm not a normal NFL fan. When an injury happens and everybody's at the sports bar together, I just pretend that I see what happened. I need it to replay 7 times from 8 different angles for me to be oh, I guess he did roll his ankle there. Oh yeah, okay. Isn't that weird? Yeah, that's my special gift.
If you don't see this one on the first try, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna see it. You guys better not have it queued up or something. Can you imagine a TikTok-y
we wouldn't do that to Joe.
Watch your career-ending injury with me for the first time. TikTok vibe. We're not doing that. Instead, we've got there's lots of exciting things going on in the world. It's all over this morning. Quarterback streaming now on Netflix. I'm in the Netflix family. I was so excited to get to talk to Jared Goff. That episode is not released yet on the Netflix Sports Club podcast. We'll get clips from it when it is. But this is now available. The whole season, I believe, is out, and it profiles the behind the scenes, on field, off field of Joe Burrow, who you're seeing who's making the rounds, him and Zach Taylor, the sideline exchange, Jared Goff in the middle, and then Kirk Cousins, who we're super familiar with, it more so, I think, than the other two. You have this sort of enigmatic mystery that is Joe Burrow. And then you have Jared Goff that I don't know that people focus on him all that, especially when you have these big personalities like Dan Campbell, and he's got this amazing story and it's really worked out for him. And I would just like to say that I got to preview ahead of talking to Jared Goff. I got to preview and I streamed, and you know me, I'm not one for streaming. I'm not one for preparation, really. I'm not. And I watched every episode, and everybody should really, it's amazing. It's amazing theater. It makes you, if you sit there and you miss football, all the more. So you'll get your itch scratched watching it for sure. But I would say that Jared Goff, and I'm, I love Joe, Kirk's made man. And so is Jared, really, arguably more successful. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. I don't even know why I just said that. I would just say Jared Goff steals the show. Jared Goff steals the show. Kristen, his wife, steals the show. Their dog steals the show. Quincy, I believe. I might be wrong. But he's so easy to root for. And I got to say, the way that he breaks down football and explains it throughout this series, I think, because, obviously it's a football audience and a broader audience. I think that's going to go over really well. And they really sync up some of the stuff that happens on the field, selling a stumble with Jahmyr Gibbs and what that look, and it's very interesting to watch it throughout practice in the week and then executed in the games. And I mean, it was so it's really you got to think Jared, how heartbreaking was that? They could not have been higher. They could not have been flying higher. And you watch, the Thanksgiving and the holidays, and then you just think it's them, and you hear Jared saying in it, momentum, we don't want to be too high. We just want to be just here. And then for it to not work out. I talked to him about the Commanders game. I talked to him about all that heartbreak, but he's so even keel. And you and I talked about this. Jared Goff has a thing about him that maybe is unheralded a bit, where he gets up from these big moments. He pops up when things go bad.
Yeah, he does. And even when you go back, we talked about him back with the Rams against the Chiefs, that epic Monday night battle against Mahomes, that every time something went wrong and the Chiefs scored, he came right back and answered, and they won that shootout. And I love too, it just seems like since he got to Detroit, he just gives less of a crap about things, and he lets it rip in the press conferences a little. He's at, I listen to all these press conferences. He is up there with Kyle Shanahan as one of my favorite listens, because he'll get a little spicy. He'll get a little attitude back sometimes when it's warranted, and I always love seeing that.
There was who got a lot of FaceTime, and I asked him about this too. I'm not gonna tease it or whatever. I'm not gonna say what he says, but Mark Brunell gets a lot of FaceTime in this series, more, I think, than Ben Johnson does. I don't know, editorial, but they're in lockstep. And I wonder, and I asked him, and I'll tease it. Maybe we'll show the clip here on the show from the Netflix Sports Club podcast. But I asked him, are people maybe underrating his role in the success of this offense, and all of that. Yeah. It's all super, super interesting, but can the Lions pick it up? Can they do their thing? A lot of, the rag now, a lot of pieces missing. But I got to say, after I was oh, they got to go to the Super Bowl. I'm very into Jared Goff. I'm very into Jared Goff right now after watching that series. So hopefully you guys will watch it. Of course, you get your Kirk Cousins fill in there. And then you get to see some behind the scenes of Joe Burrow, which obviously we've all been waiting for. And Patrick Mahomes, obviously he was in the first season. He talked to, Jared Goff. I talked to him about that too. He's Patrick's an executive producer on quarterback. So it's made by quarterbacks for fans and quarterbacks alike. It's the perfect mix, it's exactly what we need with how many days to go? 60
God.
60?
Yeah. It's about 2 months till the start of the season. Yeah. A little under 2 months.
A little under 2 months. So we're excited about that. But I'm trying to think. The dog steals the show. In my opinion, Jared Goff steals the show. You guys stream it. And I'm going to want to talk about it because I never watch anything. Like, I'm out on Love Island. I'm not watching any of these things. So this is something that I can actually like have an opinion on and talk to the people about. So you guys won't want to, we'll be chatting about quarterback once or twice here on the show. Joe Theismann on. I'm excited to see what he has to say about, I mean, obviously Kirk Cousins, he loves him. He's been tracking his career. What else should we get into here? Should I get into my fantasy goodness?
I think we should.
We love y'all. We know you're not really focused on what's going on in the NFL right now. Like, you're lightly tracking it, the trades and stuff like that. But how about the fantasy values? As in about a month, you're going to be doing these drafts, okay? If you're not mock drafting and doing your thing, we've got you covered. Here they are, my top 5 fantasy football sleepers for the year. And I want to start with, as we all know, I love him, JJ McCarthy. Oh my gosh, obsessed. He's ranked 20th on Fantasy Pros right now, 20th. And there's a lot of unknowns. I know we haven't seen him play, but Sam Darnold, and congrats to him on his engagement, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was a top 8 quarterback a year ago in this offense. And this was before they added and invested and rebuilt the offensive line. So even Nick Mullins, people, dost thou not understand? Nick Mullins was putting up fantasy numbers respectively in this offense 2 years ago. So of course he's going to be better than 20th. He's a huge value right now. Justin Jefferson, you guys kidding. At number 4, gimme Mike Gesicki. A lot of mouths to feed in Cincy. I get it, but he's going to see favorable matchups, some one-on-one, some sneaky stuff with Jamar and T, of course, back, which is still like blows my mind that they're both back in this offense in 2025, the year of our Burrow. And Joe Burrow and he sort of like got the chemistry rolling down the stretch. We never like to start fast. It's just not what we do as Bengals fans and Bengals people. But over the second half of the season, take a look at this. Mike was a top 10 tight end. He hauled in 18 grabs over the final 2 of the year. So I think we'll see more consistency out of him. Year 2 Bengals offense. By the way, this is the first time in his entire career that he's had the same system for consecutive years. So that's kind of nice and kind of wild. Low risk, 22 at tight end right now. He's a late round flyer. Grab him. At number 3, my fantasy sleepers, I'm going to go with Bills wideout Keon Coleman. People fell in love with him. He's got a lot of talent. I think he's going to be slept on because people had really high expectations of him. He was having these rave reviews, the coaching staff, the fans, all of that. I love that we know he has the talent, and the Bills did not make a big move at receiver during free agency. And that kind of tells me everything. Khalil Shakir, he's your slot guy. He's great at it, but Keon Coleman can be the guy on the outside for this passing attack. And hopefully he takes it, he catches it, he runs with it, and look at where he's going right now. Fantasy Pros has him at the 48th spot at wide receiver. Big time steal on draft day, at least for now. At number 2, I kind of wanted to stay quiet about this one because it's something that I'm going to grab in about a month. Brian Robinson Jr. First of all, you always got to look at the contract years, especially at the running back position. It's just human nature. It's a contract year for our guy, B. Rob Jr. They're handing him the keys to this backfield. All the trust for a Super Bowl contending commander squad. He's going as low as RB3 right now. It doesn't make sense. I know he didn't finish strong last year. It's probably baked into that value. But injuries were a huge part of that. Through week 8, before the hamstring deal, he was a borderline RB1. He was averaging just under 13 points a game. So in this offense, I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities to find the end zone, and I like the value that you're getting with him. And at number 1, I have my list here. We should probably throw a quarterback in there. And that quarterback's going to be Dak Prescott. Let's go, Jordan Spieth. This one's for you. Let's do it. I know you might not think he's a sleeper, but he's 15th at quarterback, and that's insane. We have collectively lost our minds. We have jumped the shark. We have lost the plot, crashed out, whatever Gen Z term you want to use. The George Pickens addition aside, Dak finished 3rd, 7th, and 2nd in each of the last 3 healthy seasons. I'll say it again. 3rd, 7th, and 2nd in the top 10. How are you having him at 15 when you add Pickens? He puts up numbers. The Cowboys are going to air it out. So I actually don't understand why it's like that, but here are my 5 fantasy sleepers. Again, trust me on these. Dak, like I said, Brian Robinson Jr., contract year, keys to the backfield. Keon Coleman can be the outside guy. Gesicki, the chemistry second half should carry over with Joe Burrow, and JJ McCarthy. He's got a pretty good receiver to throw to in an offense where a bunch of quarterbacks have put up big numbers. Who did I miss? Who did I get wrong? Who did I get the most right? Let me know in the comments. We will be back after this with a true Washington, the NFL legend. We've got MVP Super Bowl champ quarterback Joe Theismann on the show after this. I believe making his debut, which how could he have never been on our show yet? Unbelievable. We'll be back to you. Dak. Not to bring up a Cowboys quarterback ahead of a Commanders quarterback. Holy moly.
Yeah. Wild that, he's going at that value. I guess maybe with him coming off the injury, some people are
It's just
apprehensive.
injury.
He's had some injury issues in the past, but you're not going to get a better value than that.
If you're looking for value, you literally look at who people were too hyped on, which is Keon Coleman, or too much buzz. You look at injury and you look at who hurt them. And contract years at running back.
Yeah.
That's how you win a fantasy league, people.
Sure. It's also crazy to think Gesicki, 9 years in the NFL, has never been in the same system for consecutive years. It's crazy to think about. I've seen Dan Pitcher, their OC, is super high on him this year and everything he's going to bring to this offense. Yeah, I really think that one's gonna pop.
What's popping off with Joe Burrow from the quarterback deal?
Remember that 5 touchdown game where he was super pissed on the sidelines even though they were winning? There's some audio of that I've seen popping off. Kind of get a little more backstory into that and what he was saying with Zach Taylor when they were going back and forth.
Oh, I saw it. It didn't crush for me in my head when I saw that. Mm-hmm. But then again, one of my biggest bites from Super Bowl, right, was asking him why he's never satisfied. That's what I asked him.
Yeah.
Okay. I have some things to say, but I'm going to be respectful.
Oh, no. Things about me?
No. About the internet.
Oh, okay. Speaking of that new Jurassic World, I know you're big into sharks, dinosaurs, that new Jurassic World movie.
We'll get into Jurassic World. I'm excited. I want to go see I never want to go see movies, but I want to see the F1 one also. I mean, it's been shoved down my throat so much lately that on all the socials, Brad Pitt has been everywhere. Not complaining, of course. Look what happened to my coffee. It's leaking everywhere. But
how does that even happen?
I don't know, but is it going to ruin my day? No, it's not going to ruin my day. I didn't do any. Why is it my fault?
Because you asked for some high octane stuff.
You know what we're going to do?
Burned through the cup.
That's sulfuric acid, Breaking Bad. The day I stopped watching Breaking Bad was the day I started when that human body fell through the bathtub. Goodbye.
Let me get a little more, going all the way up. Everything I do, man, need to be major. Let me get
Theismann loading it up, touchdown. Theismann, oh, what a great play.
Can I get a little more?
What a treat. Are we going to dig into some old highlights? We certainly are. We're going to talk about the current NFL ahead of the season. My next guest, a true legend, an MVP, a Super Bowl champion quarterback, Joe Theismann. How are you?
I'm great, Kay. It's so good to catch up with you. Thanks for having me. And you're right. This is the first time I've had a chance to do your show, and I'm really looking forward to not this one as much as the rest of them we're going to do going forward.
Let's do it. I'm so excited to talk to you. Thank you for taking the time. I do want to start, if you'll allow it, with one of the most underrated plays in Super Bowl history. And it wasn't a pass you completed. You turn into Joe Theismann, the DB. Okay. I would love you to talk me through. You know what I'm talking about. You knocked the ball out of the defender's hands. It would have been a pick six. Walk me back to the huddle. And did you feel like that moment was going to be a turning point?
At that moment, I just wanted to find the football, Kay. It was a quick hitch out to the right, and I turned to come back to the left, and Kim Bocamper stuck his hands out like he was going to catch it. And it really felt like my feet were in cement. It was like, okay, I've got to get there. I'm moving in slow motion. The last thing I thought was, let me just take a dive and see if I can get my hand up in between his two and knock the ball away. And I sat there in the end zone. I mean, I'm on the ground sitting there in the end zone and I'm going, whoo, that was close. But yeah, I think that was, as you look back at that football game, we were basically a running football team. This would have forced us to come out of our game plan, which Coach Gibbs actually talked about the night before. Keeping it close, we'll run the ball, we'll control the line of scrimmage. That was our game plan. This would have taken us completely out of it, and it would have given them, I think, a 13-point lead, and I don't know if we'd have been able to throw the ball around against that great defense enough to be able to win the football game. But yeah, it's funny. You play quarterback all your years in the NFL. I mean, I started as a punt returner. I tried to punt once. Now I became a defensive back, because we're all plays in my mind that have made a difference in my life.
It's surprising to hear you say that you think that you felt like you were in cement. It sort of doesn't look that way at all.
It felt like it, honest to goodness.
You were moving.
Really, when the world goes into slow motion, I mean, I think all of us have experienced that slow motion where you can't quite get to where you want to, or something happens in your life and it's just everything was moving in a surreal manner. And that's basically what it was for me when I knocked the ball away from Kim. And he has a place down in Fort Lauderdale. My daughter lived down there, and so I used to go into the restaurant every now and then and see him and say hi, and he'd just give me a look.
Yeah, I mean, you have that. If that didn't happen, you would have been down 10 and you would have been in some serious trouble there. It was a huge play. I think it says a lot about the kind of player that you were, of course. Then the PBU was perfect. Did Mark Murphy teach you that?
Oh, Mark, Murph's quite the character. Trust me. People don't realize, we played together. Of course, he's been running the Packers forever, doing a fabulous job up there. And so I've tried to learn from everybody.
He retired a couple of days ago, officially. 18 years in Green Bay.
This was his first. Yeah, this is the first year out. I'm curious to see what he's going to do. He did such a great job. We've had different players go on into different positions, and done great jobs as general managers, as heads of organizations. And it's exciting to see the players getting more and more involved, like Tom's ownership with the Raiders, I think is another thing. And more players are sort of moving in that direction if ownership allows them to be a part of it.
In your next year, we'll get to the current NFL. I want to live in the 1983 season, if you'll allow it. That was your MVP winning
I'm with
year.
You.
Just things were better back then, right? So Washington in that year, 1983, you win the MVP. You set the record for points scored at the time. You still are in the top 10 to this day, over 40 years later. And that, in my opinion, in my producer, Matt Hamilton's opinion, like that offense does not get talked about enough. Like it's always 07 Patriots and all the respect, deservedly so, for the greatest show on turf. But you guys scored more than the greatest show on turf. Why isn't that talked about? The offensive line gets a nickname, but your kicker wins an MVP one of those years. What gives?
I just think that as you move on in time, things change. You go from 14 games to 16 games to 17 games, soon to 18 games. I think the NFL changes on a continuing basis, and sometimes a part of the past gets sort of pushed to the side, and everybody wants to focus on what's taking place right now. One thing about that football team, Kay, that nobody really talks about, and I think to me is indicative of the way the team played football, besides the points we scored, our giveaway takeaway ratio was plus 43. And no one has even come half that close. In all the years of football, I mean, the 40 years or the years previous to that, no one has ever come close to a plus 43 giveaway takeaway ratio. That's what made that football team so special. We were as complete a football team as you could possibly have. And if we had won that Super Bowl against the Raiders and we went back to back, I think people would talk about this offense in a whole lot different manner and about this football team in a whole lot different manner. And that's the power of the Super Bowl, both plus and minus. If you don't win it, you sort of become a part of something in history. If you do win it, it becomes a legacy situation for everybody.
It's so interesting, such good perspective. Thank you for sharing that. That does make sense. And as time goes by, now I was lucky enough to have Phil Simms on the show not long ago, and I love when a quarterback sort of sits back and and gets the reps and develops. It's like this, I guess, what would be called old school way of thinking about it. And Phil Simms actually told me that he doesn't think that having young quarterbacks sit is great or beneficial or helpful. And I was sort of shocked by that. And then I think about you and coming on the show, and a couple of years in Canada, you didn't start until year 3 in the NFL. Then you do go on to be the MVP, to be a Super Bowl champ. Do you agree with Phil? How do you feel about those, even in your own experience, those first 2 years helping you? Or would you think you would have played that way and that well regardless?
I probably would not have. Back when I was playing and when Phil played, there was a transition from college to professional football. It was a different game, different offenses, a lot different things to learn. Today, the reason why we see so many young quarterbacks having a chance to play is because a lot of what they do in college is what we see at the professional game now. So the learning curve is a lot smaller. The opportunity to be able to see the things, to be able to study the defenses, all the technology that's available for them in the off season. Our off season was an off season. We didn't go, 24/7, 365 football like they do today. I mean, you had January, February, March, April, May. You had all those times off to work yourself if you wanted, but never like they do with coaches now. And even though there's a restriction on how much, which I don't understand, it's the only job in the world where people say, we don't want you to come to work on these particular days. We don't want you to get better. We don't want to help you to get better. I've yet to figure that out, to be honest with you. But that's the way the rules are set up. But I think the transition back when Phil and I played is different than it is today for the young quarterbacks. And so they have a chance to jump in really with the things they've learned in college. And a lot of the coaches are taking some of the college stuff that they've done and incorporating it now into the professional game, which even makes the transition easier.
What don't you understand about the time off for them?
Why not work on your profession? Why not get better? I mean, you don't take 6 months off doing your show. You lose an edge. I think you lose an edge, to be honest with you. I really do.
Interesting.
Especially quarterbacks, because, that time spent working on timing. I mean, I'm not saying you work every day, but there's periods of time where it would be good to be able to sit down with a coach. It would be able to get a better understanding of what's going on, especially now that you only have 3 preseason games and you have a limited amount of time in training camp. I think it's 17 days in training camp. Let's take the Cleveland Browns as an example. I know they're in the division of your Cincinnati Bengals, okay? So let's take the Cleveland Browns as an example. You have 4 quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. How much work do you really think that Dylan and Shedeur are going to get? You have to get Kenny ready. Joe will get a limited amount because he's been there so long, and he's like the Methuselah of football now. He's there. He's been there forever, and he does so many things, and he's a big plus to a football team. But how many reps do you think these young guys are going to get? And it places a tremendous premium on the decisions they make, the throws they make, their footwork. You don't have time to get better. And I'd say if you had an off season where they could be there now working on their game, you'd get a much better competition and product than just having a very short period of time to evaluate them.
When you had those months off, did you work really hard? Did you take a break? Because I guess
took a break. Yeah, I took a little bit of time off, but I used to go to Redskin Park. And by the way, you talked about, Dak Prescott being one of your sleepers as far as fantasy goes. And I think it makes a lot of sense. But you're right. You look at the numbers that Dak has posted when he's healthy, and that's the big question. How big a difference is it going to make with George there? When's he going to blow up? I guess that's the only question in Dallas is when does Pickens go bonkers? I think that's the thing that you get curious about. But I used to take Jay Bernetti, who happens to be the equipment guy with the San Francisco 49ers. Jay Bird's still in the game. I used to go out in February with him. He would wear, this is a true story. He would wear gloves, scuba gloves. He would wear a stocking cap, and he would wear shorts. To this day, I don't know if he owns a long pair of pants, to be honest with you. But we would go out and I would throw. And I had my own little routine. I had my own little workout for an hour that I do 3 days a week. But I started in February to get ready for the season. And I just feel like the position is so complex and there's so many different aspects of it to be able to try and master part of it. You need as much time as you can. And I just don't think the young guys get the opportunity because of rules and regulations today to be able to do that. They're not coached as much.
So in the next CBA, and the CBA is why they have this time off. They fought for it. They pushed for it. The Players Association. Should
Sure
it
they
be
did.
like? Should it be like? Should quarterbacks have different rules? Should they be able to? Would you push for that?
It wouldn't matter because they're not going to go backwards. You know, the genie's out of the bottle. Okay. Guys have worked for time off. They're not going to give anything back when it comes to time off. You know, I think per play, they're probably the highest paid people in the world. And good for them. I don't begrudge anybody anything. I think it's terrific. But for the amount of time that you're not allowed to be able to work, I can't see them going back and saying, hey, we'd like a little bit more time to be able to work on things. I mean, you know, players complain about too much hitting in practice now. You know, they'll contact their rep and say, do you realize we hit 2 days in a row? And I, you know, to bring up the old days, we hit a lot. I mean,
You're hilarious.
and that's why, you know, Kate, that's why I think the early part of the season is you see the ball on the ground. You see guys dropping passes because really the first 2 to 3 regular season games now are really preseason games. Imagine if you were the Minnesota Vikings having to go to Miami and play in Miami in September, and you've never really, you know, been in condition enough for all that heat. It makes a difference.
Yeah. There's a Bengals joke in there about starting the season slow that I'm not going to make right now. But at quarterback, I had the chance to, I flew to Kansas City last week and I sat down with Patrick for a bit, which is rare. And it was really precious and amazing to get his mindset, of course, going into the season after the loss and what, you know, hearing people chatter. I talked to him and I asked him, you know, how should I be talking about you and framing what this season is going to be like? Here's what he said.
You know, I'm honestly just ready to play football again. Whenever you lose, you kind of have this taste in your mouth that you want to go out there and revenge that or whatever you want to say. But at the same time, I feel like I've had to sit back and just listen to people talk. And I'm like, let's just play football and just handle it all out there. And I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to go out and show who we are as a Kansas City Chiefs.
What do you think we're about to see from Patrick Mahomes this season?
I think we'll see a terrific season. I think also you'll see the same thing from Travis Kelce. I think you're going to see 2 men who are determined to put last year behind them and play the kind of football that we expect from them. But the other thing too, Kay, is people don't realize this. The Kansas City Chiefs have played almost, if not more, an entire season longer.
So now they're playing too much.
Because of the Super Bowls. Because they've gone to 5 Super Bowls. Patrick's won 3 of them. So with all those extra games, it's less and less in the offseason. I think they come back renewed. I think they come back pissed off, to be perfectly honest with you. They didn't like the way things went. You know, the Philadelphia game, that Super Bowl looked just like the game against Tampa Bay, which only emphasizes the point that you need an offensive line if you think you have a chance to try and win a championship. That's where those guys up front, the guys on defense and the guys on offense, right up front, that's where it's going to make a difference. You can have all the great players you want. And you look at Kansas City with the great players they have. But if you can't get the ball out to people, when you can rush 4 and drop 7, the holes to put the ball into are very, very small. And I think they'll come back with renewed vengeance. I'm preparing to leave tomorrow for Lake Tahoe for the American Century Golf Tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And Patrick will be there. Both Travis and his brother will be there. So the Kelce's always are a great show. It's an entertaining week of attempting to try and play the game of golf. And I'm excited. I had a chance to spend a little time with Patrick last year. I admire him tremendously. I think he's the best quarterback in football right now. He's done so many things so well, but I love the way he plays the game with his head. He has total control of everything on the field. He knows the down and distance. He's familiar, you know, how to get out of bounds, how to protect yourself. I really, really love the way he does it. But then you get into that Eagle game and there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
And they've addressed some of that a lot on a young rookie. So we'll see how it shakes out. Something that really stuck out to me when I was talking to him, I asked him, just like, what is the one, I put him, try to put him in a corner, like an interviewer, like, give me the one thing that like this team needs to be successful, thinking you could say offensive line or whatever. And he hit me with intangibles. He hit me with fun. It's the first thing it was an honest answer. And he said, we just need to have fun. And then I started thinking, like, were they not having fun last year? What is the value of fun? And then I look at you and, you know, you had fun. You had fun. Like you're playing life. You're off. You know, like your persona, all of that. How much does fun matter?
Oh, tremendously. I'll take you back. I'll take you back to the teams that I played on back in the 80s. On Saturday morning, we'd go through our walkthrough, and then we'd have a volleyball game, offense versus defense. We play volleyball over the goalpost. Or we would have, I remember John Robinson, who coached the Rams, he used to have a competition where he would have his offensive and defensive linemen catch punts on a Saturday. And whichever group at the end of the year had the best record, that whole group would go to Hawaii for a week. Of course, you can't do that stuff now because the rules and regulations. But I think if you can't enjoy the game, if the game isn't fun, if it's work, don't do it. That applies to every job, no matter what you do. I wrote a book called How to Be a Champion Every Day. And one of the things I talk about is being able to enjoy life. The world of sports, the world of business, our own lives, they all parallel one another. If you can't enjoy something you're doing, then you're wasting your time and valuable time on this earth. And
But
I
Joe,
think
it's not easy.
Patrick's right.
It's not easy with all the pressure. You just said like there's so much more pressure. Every rep is pressure. Having fun isn't easy.
It's not easy, but things that matter, things that you really want aren't easy. People don't hand things to you on a silver platter. You make the game fun. You make it. We used to have a competition in practice. If I threw a touchdown pass against one of the defensive backs, I'd either get a case of Coke or a case of beer. If they picked off a pass, I had to do the same thing. And we kept a little score sheet on our lockers. I mean, it was a game. Every day it was a game of some sorts for us. When it rained and it was muddy, guys would go out and slide in the mud like little kids. They go out and belly flop out and just have the best time. Really, when you think about it, Kay, we're a bunch of grown men playing a wonderful kids game.
Oh,
And
I know.
if you can't look at it that way and you think it's a job, there's much tougher jobs out there. And
It's easier to have fun, I guess, when you aren't running around for your life with nowhere to run, like the Super Bowl. So hopefully it all, I guess, goes hand in hand. I want to get to
I
your
did that as a
Commanders.
punt returner. I did that as a punt returner my first 2 years in the league. I mean, I've done darn near everything you can in this league. I stole a bus in
I
training
know.
camp. I mean, I've had a lot of fun.
that I know. I enjoyed my research on you over the past couple of days. Although I have to tell you, I've never watched the leg break. I don't know if you heard that. I've never seen it.
I appreciate that. I've only seen it once in 40 years.
Yeah. Oh, you've never rewatched it?
Just once. I had to do it. A guy from New York came down and wanted to interview me about it. I didn't realize he wanted me to sit with him and look at it. I did it. It's the last time I've ever seen it. What I basically do is I just close my eyes if it comes on, or my wife will say to me, turn away or something like that. But I know what happened. Okay. I'm the guy you go to.
What was it like
say,
watching
what
it that
happened?
one time?
It was difficult. I got sort of a little bit of butterflies as we moved towards the second quarter, and I knew what was coming. And so, put behind me, my leg is great. God bless me. I don't have any metal in it. I wound up with a new hip because it wore out a little bit, but that's just what happens when you get a little bit older.
Oh man. Do I still have it? I think I had no idea that you hadn't seen it. It's like obviously hard to avoid. But appreciate that. And I hope you never have to see it. And we're so glad you're okay. And it's obviously part of your story. And like you said, you had a lot of fun. So there's that. And then you had an incredible career after your NFL career. These Commanders, I need your analysis now. What is going on? Because Terry McLaurin, one of my favorite players, I was off for 3 weeks. And when I left, I said the easiest thing is to get this done with him. There's not a player in the league that I would find it easier to make a deal with and make feel good than Terry McLaurin. We've gotten to the point where I'm hearing the trade rumors. I'm getting texts about it. How do you see this ending?
That would be a major problem for all of us that appreciate what the Commanders have done, what Terry has done. Terry's a dear friend. He's just a great young man, a great leader. And, you talk about intangibles. His intangibles and his value to this football team are even more outweighed, I should say, than his talent, which we know is extreme. He needs to be paid. He needs to be paid right away. We need to put this issue behind us as a football team. He is one of the leaders, and he's a guy that you can always count on. You can always count on him in practice. You can always count on him in a game. He's faster than people think. To me, he sort of fits into that Jerry Rice category where, he's not a burner. He doesn't get all the publicity. He doesn't get all the hype, but he's as good as anybody that plays this game. I would put him up against anybody that plays wide receiver in the National Football League. I don't care who it is. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. He encompasses it all. And from my perspective, that's a deal that must get done and must get done soon. And Adam, I know Peters has done a terrific job with that football team as a GM and putting the team together. And this is one piece you have to have. You talk about putting a house together and building it with brick and mortar. This is the mortar that keeps the bricks together.
And I think what Adam has really been so sensational at, and I've told him so, is the foundational work that he's done with this squad and how deliberate he's been about it. I guess, I don't know, what's the problem?
I agree with you. I mean, it's been methodical. I think if you take a look and say, how do I want to put a football team together? I want veterans from a leadership standpoint that can still play. Done that. I want young players with promise. Done that. I want rookies that we believe can step in. Done that. You got B-Rob on your fantasy camp, on your fantasy choices. I think it's a great choice. You see, this is when you look at last year's Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury had Jaden Daniels for the first time. I sort of likened it a little bit what he had with Kyler Murray out in Arizona. Young quarterback who can move around. I think Jaden's taller, can throw the ball down the field extremely well, has terrific ability to judge and run. I was talking about Patrick's ability from his football smarts. I think Jaden's in that category as well. The offensive line, we never heard anybody talk about him last year, which is a good thing because they're not talking about sacks and they're not talking about problems. Defensively, they've made some adjustments. I think they're going to get better with Bobby Wagner back. I think it's an integral part of what they want to do going forward. So you look at the way Adam is constructing this football team, the way he and Dan are putting it together. It's got youth, it's got experience, and it's got a future. It isn't just a win right now, although we were able to do it. The thing about last year, though, Kay, is you look at the last 5 games, they were all nail biters. Every game was down to the wire. Every game was decided within either overtime or within the last minute. And they're not going to be afforded that luxury this year. This is a really tough schedule. I mean, you travel to Madrid, you have a Sunday night game, you have Thursday games, you have Monday games. This comes with success. I guess this is the next growing stage for this football team. How do you handle not having 5-6 days of preparation between every game? You get 3 days, you get 4 days, you travel overseas. Now you have 10 days. You're playing on Christmas. All these games come up at different times. All these situations come up at different times. And it's something they're going to have to grow with. I mean, you got the Broncos, you've got the Chiefs in Kansas City. You've got Denver. Like I say, you got Denver, you got the Chiefs, you got the Lions. I think you go Kansas City Lions back to back. Then you finish the season, you go Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. You finish in the division. So I think this football team is capable of doing the things they want to do. Are they going to win as many games as they did last year? We certainly hope so. And I think they're certainly going to, I think they can challenge the Philadelphia Eagles in the games that they played them. I think they played them very well. So
just don't do this. Just don't do it you're speaking so high. You're literally comparing, maybe you don't mean to, but you're comparing Mahomes and Jaden. Obviously we have to see more than a rookie year from Jaden. Don't do that to Jaden. Don't take Terry away from Jaden.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
It's nice to hear you talk about Jaden in that Patrick realm, a really high regard.
But Terry, I think he has the ability to be able to be that good a quarterback. I've said this many times, Kay. The quarterback position is the single most dependent position on the field. By not signing Terry McLaurin, you're taking away one of the elements that supports the position.
They got to sign him. Adam, from our hearts to yours, to your desk where you're doing things. I know it's not that easy, but they got to get it done. You mentioned Madrid. It's very cool. Maybe not, it's very cool. They're playing against the Dolphins in the home of Real Madrid. First ever game in Madrid. What are you doing with big game travel for that huge, amazing trip to Spain?
All right, I'm not going to look at I'm going to go through my little list
Okay.
like I have.
Tell me.
This is what's happening in Madrid. First of all, they're going to handle all the airfare for this complete package, but you can do a land package if you want and go on your own to different places. They're offering a Barcelona add-on. You can go to Barcelona, handle accommodations, tours, and more. Guests have guaranteed game tickets with the option to upgrade your seats.
Wow.
There's going to be 3 parties of which I'm hosting, all-inclusive tailgate on game day. I'll be there. Guests will see the major highlights of Madrid, including the Royal Palace, which I know you would want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Big Game Travel is the premier company in the industry, and they're celebrating their 25th year. And they want to handle all of the planning, all the guests need to do, and this is very important. Grab your passport, pick up your bags, and get ready for a fantastic trip. And I say this to everybody: make sure you have your passport. I've been on too many trips with too many friends, and all of a sudden you get to customs and it's like, oops, now your day gets a lot longer, a whole lot longer. But yeah.
You just say, I'm Joe Theismann, let me in.
Yeah, and they go, I'm sorry, we only know soccer here. We're learning football. I don't care who you are.
How's your Spanish, Joe?
Terrible.
Daryl, all right. Well, you don't need it. It sounds like a great time, perfectly executed by you. You are the absolute best. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Okay, thanks for having me so much. I look forward to visiting with you again. Take care.
Really appreciate you. Enjoy that game in Madrid. We'll be back after this. We're going to switch gears to lacrosse. We rarely talk about lacrosse. Rabel brothers doing their thing all over ESPN, all over the country. So we're going to get into it and get to know Trevor Baptiste after this. Oh, Joe. He's like,
love Joe.
I love it. Love the yelling. You love they don't even practice. And then like they've played too many games. He's great. Great theater.
Yeah.
It's such a migraine.
Oh, no.
I know. And then I decided.
Maybe it's from the ponytail.
No, it's
That's
not.
what
It was before and it was a bad idea because of it. It's okay. I'm sorry we didn't get to your Andre the Giant thing.
No, that's
I
okay.
care less.
I know.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay.
Did you edit anything since it's 8, Hamilton?
Have not, but we can go through.
That would be nice and helpful to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like playing lacrosse isn't hard enough. We're going to do it on a boat.
I know.
Is the boat going to? It's like when they play basketball on the boats, right? Like Tom Izzo did this before.
Yeah. I mean, the wind's got to be a factor.
Did that?
I mean,
Patrick,
you can't feel.
Did that Patrick thing go out? Didn't we have more like the Duke
Which
thing?
one? Yes, that went out this morning.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And him and his family also went out this morning.
That's speed, boy.
Hell yeah, boy. Let's go.
Step in. Nip. Oh,
Oh my God. We're not going to win this game with one play. We're not going to win this game with one dodge. One person is not going to win this game, right? We're going to win this game if we all come together and make play after play after play after play.
Oh, snap. I had not seen that before. I guess, Trevor, it's a team sport, play after play, or like you just win the face off and score off it, which you do every other second. So like you kind of do have a lot to do with winning games, Trevor Baptiste.
Yeah, no, that was actually pretty funny watching those mic'd up clips back. That was a pretty intense moment for a couple years back. But thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
It's so
Excited
good
to
to
be
see
here.
you. Yeah, we met in Philly. If
Yeah.
anybody doesn't know, NFL world here, but you are a face-off specialist for the New York Atlas. That's putting it lightly, I think, after all the clips and footage and highlights that I've seen over the past couple of days. You are a 7-time Premier Lacrosse League All-Star. You are an MVP, a 2-time world champion. So excited to talk to you. And you are fresh off yet another PLL All-Star game. The face-offs do look a bit different in this one. Is it rock, paper, scissors, rock? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, we start the game doing a little rock, paper, scissor, which it's an all-star game. You got to have fun with it. Usually in a more competitive game, we aren't doing that. It's usually more physical, guys really getting after it. But you got to have fun, especially to set the tone of the all-star game.
Real game. Like you want to be in this championship. You're in the playoffs now, which we'll get into what that path looks like. Can you take me through winning a face-off? Like if I had to come off the bench cold, not knowing lacrosse, and you had to coach me through how I can win this face-off, what would you tell me? What would I do?
I'll probably start out by saying relax. I think that it does get pretty physical and things happen pretty fast, but you got to relax so you can react to the whistle. Be ready for the whistle. And for your first time, I'd say just keep playing. I think that a lot of times people get really locked in on your first move, or you gotta clamp that ball right away. And if you don't do that, then you're gonna lose the face off. And you can counter, you could run after a ground ball. You just got to keep playing and stick with it.
What is being said there? What I'm imagining is like the offensive line, line of scrimmage. Like what is being said? Crazy stuff?
Yeah. I wouldn't say too
No?
crazy. I think that, I think there's definitely the game within the game, guys, talking a little bit, saying their stuff. But I think with face-off guys, there's a lot of mutual respect between each other. It's such a specialized position. And it's a position that you can't hide. Every time you're out there, you're going head to head all day. There could be 25 to 30 face-offs in a game. So nobody else on your team is doing it. And sometimes I feel like we give each other the most credit for what we do,
Yeah, but give yourself some credit. Why are you better at that I just saw than everybody else? Like just why are you better off scoring off a face-off than everybody else? What is it like a knack, an instinct? Is it teachable? What is it?
I think it's just practice, to tell you the truth. I think that I'm fortunate enough that I've gotten in that position a lot. So winning that ball forward, I love to push the ball forward. And, I would say I get to those areas of the field maybe more so than other players. So I got a lot of practice getting down there.
The Atlas, baby, first place, Eastern Conference right now. They are pushing towards the playoffs. What would it mean to you? I don't think you've played in a championship game in the PLL. I don't, right?
No, never.
What would that mean to you?
It'd be huge. I think that's the goal. I think for a few seasons now, it's all about winning a championship, and I know we got the team to do it. And I think for me, it's crazy. I actually just had a birthday last week, and thinking about how long I've been playing, it hasn't been extremely long time, but I'm getting up there, like it's like, I think I'm definitely on the back half of my career. So I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win a few times. And I want to do that with this team.
I love that you're not getting up there. You crush, and I can't wait to see
I
how far you guys
appreciate
go. I hope you get to the playoffs, obviously to the championship. I'd love to see that. And then maybe, I don't know, then maybe like turn to the business side of things, which I think is so interesting and really inspiring with PLL. I cannot think of another pro sports league that's run by two brothers that have, you know, such a great story. How does that work to PLL's advantage, having both Paul and, or what's that dynamic?
I think it's a huge advantage, and I think that I've lucked out to have such a great relationship with both of them. Paul, he was on the Atlas, like he played on our team when the league started, and we played on Team USA together, and then getting to know Mike as well. I think that their drive and dedication to build the sport just shows in the growth of the league. I think Paul kind of takes a business approach, just like how he was a player. He doesn't stand for mediocrity, and I think that shows in the product that we put out, how fast we're growing. And I also want to give a shout out to everybody in the PLL on the administrative front. There's so many people that are doing such a great job, that I'm handling with day to day for a league that hasn't been around as long as the NBA or NFL or MLB. They're putting in just as much time and effort, and I
It's
think
so
it
fun to
shows.
watch the growth. It's amazing. And we'll wrap with this, like as if lacrosse wasn't hard enough. There is a custom Chicago riverboat thing happening on Thursday. The Chicago River, there's a turf lacrosse field. It's setting sail at 12:30 local time. And like, what is your role in that? It's like a 3-on.
Yeah, so it's 3 by, so no equipment. There's going to be top players from the PLL as well as the WLL. So some phenomenal women's players are going to be there as well. Whirlpool is sponsoring this huge event, so huge shout out to them. Excited to hang out with them for
Awesome.
the day. And it's a 3-on-3, I guess, field on a boat. I'm not really sure how it's going to be executed,
awesome.
but I'm excited. I'm excited, and it's going to be a great time. Hopefully, it's not too windy in the Windy City, and hopefully, we get some highlights and throw some. Cool
It'll be
moves out
fun. The
there.
PLL Chicago weekend takes place on Friday, the day and Saturday. Thank you so much, Trevor Baptiste. Good luck, and maybe see you this weekend.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Bye, Trev.